Okay, guys, this is what your paper should look like at this point. You should be working on your radial composition, making sure you have everything filled in. If you don't have everything filled in, you might need to add something. When I posted my picture yesterday, I went back and looked at it and realized I had some empty spots beside the B. So I decided that I would go back in and draw a flower on each side of the B just because I had kind of a big space, a big empty space, and an empty space is not super interesting to look at. If you need to repeat a symbol or if you need to like come up with a different symbol, it could be something really simple. But if you have empty spots, just make sure you fill those in with something in pencil. If you're not sure if you have an empty spot, maybe you could ask someone at home if they see an empty spot in your composition that you need to fill in. Okay, the next thing you might want to do is add some little filler designs, different places. So like around the edge, I have a little curly line around the edge. I'm also using one of the lines I drew with the compass to add a little curvy line like between the B and the star. This isn't a personal symbol, it's just a little bit of a filler design. And sometimes in a radial composition, you just need a little design or a little line to fill in. This is really simple. I'm not like measuring it or stressing about it. I'm just adding that little curvy line right along that compass mark. Sometimes you'll use the compass lines as part of your design. Sometimes you won't. So in this example, you can see sometimes I used a little curvy line. I used little half circles, and those are right on a compass line. I used some dots and stripes just as a filler design to fill in some of the empty spaces around the symbols. Okay. So after you have everything drawn and your radial composition is completely full, we need to outline everything in black marker. If you have your art kit at home, you should have a black marker in your Crayola markers. You might just have a black marker at home, but we're going to outline everything really carefully. So if your symbols aren't quite identical, you can make a little correction like while you're outlining to try to get everything as identical as possible. So we want to trace every single part of our design in black marker. If for some reason you do not have access to a black marker, you can do this the next time I see you. But if you have a black marker, this is what you need to get done today. Be really careful when you're outlining. Be super neat. These radial compositions they're not messy. It's a very orderly and organized way of working. You've spent a lot of time like thinking of symbols and drawing your design. So when you're tracing, honor that time that you've already spent by continuing to do your best work. So I'm going to continue outlining this. Just like this one, you can see how all the motifs, all the little designs are outlined. Super neat. I'm going to continue on this radial composition, getting everything outlined all the way around as neatly as I possibly can. And then tomorrow, we'll talk about adding color. In your art kit that I sent home, you have crayons and you also have Crayola markers. If you want to use colored pencils, you need to bring them to class or have access to them if you're working at home. But crayon, colored pencil, marker, all of those things are perfectly acceptable for adding color. So tomorrow will be color. At the end of your work time today, you need to have your radial composition completely drawn and completely outlined in black marker. And then you can erase any leftover pencil marks and you'll be ready to go for our next class.